Hello. Welcome back to You've Been Josh with Josh. I am your host, Josh. Hello, everybody. It's been a little bit. Sorry for no episode last week. I took a impromptu break for a week from Friday to Friday just to relax a little bit and clear my mental space. There's been a lot of stuff going on in my day-to-day life, IRL, and I wanted to make sure those things were taken care of, as well as take some time for me to kind of contemplate the last couple months and focus on what I want to have for the future. You know, there's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of good things, a lot of bad things. And I think that I kind of suppressed a lot of the negative stuff just so that way I could push forward and continue what I was doing and put a little too much stress on myself. So I took the initiative to take that week off, and it was well worth it. It was really, really nice. So I'm glad that I did that. But I just want to apologize because there's not really a way to communicate that I'm going to take a break for people who just listen to a podcast, because I know a couple people who only listen to the podcast and don't watch the streams because they like something they can listen to because they have busy lives. So I apologize for the lack of episode. But we're back. We're back, baby, for episode 19. Hell yes. We have a couple people planned for guests coming up. What I'm trying to do is have a guest, then a podcast by myself, then an episode with a guest, and then just switching back and forth. There'll be some weeks where we might have two guests back to back, and then one with me doing two episodes back to back. We'll see how it goes. It's just kind of like when I can get people on, because a lot of people are busy as well. So it is what it is. But no, the break was good. The break was very, very good. Got a lot of stuff done. I have a lot of sponsorships and a partnership that I've been working on for a while. So being able to facilitate my time towards those and getting those finalized and situated properly was really good, because a lot of them are like on the West Coast, like their offices and their businesses and companies. So like being not having to work around time zones was nice, because I was like, yeah, I'm available all day. I'm just working at home. Just let me know, because normally it's like I'm free until 4 p.m. EST, and then after that I'm like busy. So it was good to get those done. But anyway, I hope everybody's been well. Happy Valentine's Day. I know it's been, when you guys listen to this, will be 2 days since, but happy Valentine's Day. There's a lot of new things coming out. We just had a sponsorship with Outplayed, which was really, really awesome. It's still going on for a little bit. It's a super sick tool. I don't want to do the whole spiel here because it doesn't really matter. But it was on stream. It was really nice. And last night for Valentine's Day, which was Monday, we did a whole Valentine's Day themed stream, and it was a lot of fun. We went over everybody's bad date stories, like first dates or just bad dates that they've had, as well as their dating profiles, and I reviewed them and gave them my 2 cents, and it was a lot of fun. We got to have some good conversations. Then we ended up just watching Cut and Jubilee videos, which was very interesting. Those are always really entertaining, but very cringy at the same time. It was it was interesting. But me personally, I'm not a huge fan of Valentine's Day. Like, it's nice, but me and my wife, we don't really do anything for it. We don't really celebrate it. It's just kind of like, yeah, happy Valentine's Day. That's it. Because we already celebrate our wedding anniversary and our relationship on other days, like our wedding anniversary and our anniversary of us getting together. Plus, birthdays and all that stuff. And it's not like we need to have one day set aside to remind each other that we love each other. It's kind of like a constant. So it's not like we really need it. But it's nice to like yesterday we had a nice breakfast together and just kind of relaxed and watched some shitty TV and and just hung out, and it was nice. But it was interesting to hear everybody's opinion on Valentine's Day on stream, because it is kind of like it's a touchy topic for some people. People don't like it. Some people do. It's like a mixture of things in between. It's very interesting. But it was nice to just hear people's stories and kind of just make fun of the day and make fun of and think back on bad dates and whatnot, But I wanted to talk today about how I met Joy and how we started dating and then eventually got married, because I thought it'd be kind of a fun thing to do for the Valentine's Day season. Uh, yeah, no, well, we talked about this a little bit on stream last night, but I didn't go into detail of like how everything went about. Um, but as everybody knows from the podcast, I used to do theater a lot, and Joy did theater as well in high school. And something in that the high schools in my area used to do was we had like this Oscars like nomination type system for the high schools in the area. It's like the Tonys for high schoolers, basically. So you could submit your high school could submit one of your shows, like your musical, and a representative from the local town that hosts it would come, send a representative, and they would watch the show, and then they would give their review and they would talk about it, and then they would discuss. And your show as a whole could get nominated for different like best set design, best music, blah 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 blah. As well as certain people who are in the show, kids, could get nominated for like best lead actor, best supporting character, like those types of thing. And then we would have a actual like performance and ceremony, like right. It was normally around the time that people would have prom. It was like normally the week before or the week of. So it was like in February or March. I can't remember exactly what month it was in, but we would all go, and your school would be asked to perform one number, and the school would choose, and so you could choose one number to perform, and they would have announcers and whatnot, and they would announce the winners, and they would have performances, and it was at this really huge theater that like Weird Al Yankovic would come to and perform, as well as a bunch of other performers. I just name dropped him because that's the one I remembered came to that town and like played. But it was a big theater, and they had a lot of performances. The Blue Man Group came, a bunch of like a cappella groups and whatnot, and a bunch of people who were like country singers that I have no fucking idea what their names are. But big, huge auditorium with like a second level, like the balcony, and it was really, really pretty. And so it was cool for the kids because like we got to go there and we got to perform and get dressed up. They had like a red carpet for us to walk down, and it was just like a really cool experience because we felt like we got to do something that like we see people do on TV, and it was really fun. Plus the performances were always really good. The kids always felt like we were being professional about it. And something else that they would do is two representatives from each school would come. And I remember the one year they got to announce the winners, but then also those representatives from every single school together would do a number together. It was like the student representative number. And they would do it, and it would be like the opening, and it would hype up the whole ceremony, and every school would be like, yeah, that's our friends. Oh yeah, fuck yeah. And I was asked to be a student representative with one of the other people who were in the show with me, and from my school. And we did what was the first one? It was Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. And I was the oldest brother. And I sang Those Canaan Days, like the French one. It was really interesting. But anyway, Joy was one of the other student representatives from her school. And so I knew of her. I did not know her. I saw her in passing. We'd be in the same number together. And like, there's actually a video on YouTube that we've brought up a couple times of us like in that student representative number, because it was filmed. It was filmed on TV, and like people could watch it live. It's really cool. And so like, well, there's a number where you can see both of us. And I was a freshman at the time. She was a junior, so there was an age difference. But I remember asking one of my friends who was in the student representative number from a different school, I was like, hey, who's that? And they're like, oh, yeah, it's Joy. I was like, oh, damn. Joy? What a name. And they're like, yeah, they're dating someone. And I was like, fuck. And so, of course, I didn't try to, like, get to know them because I was like, well, you know, I was attracted to them. I want to see if I can date them. Therefore, if they're dating someone, that's a no-go because cheating is awful. So time passed. I was just like, ah, she's cute, you know. And then years go by, and I go to Florida. I come back, all that jazz, and I remember my senior year. I didn't do this. They didn't. My school didn't participate in the show again. And I don't even think we did a show my senior year there at the high school I was at. So like we didn't participate. And she would have been out of the the show already because she was 2 years. Well, she's a year and a half above me, but she would have been 2 years academically above me. So she wouldn't have been there anyway. But anyway, I did a couple shows at the community theater, and I met some people who said like, "Hey, I know you're opening your juice bar, and I know that cash must be tight. So we have a job opportunity for you to come to this amusement park that we usually go to, and we have like a Christmas in July thing where we're gonna go and we're gonna sing Christmas carols at the park without elf outfits in July." And it's like a week-long thing. So it paid really well, and I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. I love the amusement park. I used to go there all the time. I think I've talked about it before. It was Knoebels. And and so I went, and we had a great time. We were singing, we were having a grand old time. Everyone was like in shorts and t-shirts, and we were just like walking around with sweater vests and fucking elf hats and Santa hats and whatever. But anyway, we had to share our dressing room, in quotations, dressing room, because we didn't really have to change or anything. It was the hangout spot in between when we went into performances with the other performers at the park. And I was in there, and I saw a girl in hanging out with some of the other cast members who wasn't a part of our group. And I was like, she looks so freaking familiar, but I don't know from what. And so like casually, I like went over and I was just like, no, actually, no. She came up to me. I have to preface that because otherwise she might get mad. No, I'm just kidding. She won't get mad. She'll be like, hey, I took the initiative. Because she did. She was the ballsy one. Because I was just sitting there like, I know her from somewhere. And she was taking glances at me. And so she came over and she was like, hey, you look super familiar. And I was like, I feel the same way. And I was like, did you go to Nawakwa? And she was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Which is, for me, that was the camp I grew up going to. So I thought maybe it was from that, because Pennsylvania, it's a small state, and she was like, did you go to Ray of Lights? And I was like, oh my God, Ray of Lights, that's what it is. And we were like, oh my God. And when I first saw her my freshman year, she had a pixie cut. So she had long hair at this point with a ponytail and whatnot. So she looked completely different. Plus she's older now. So it was like 4 years had passed. So we were just like, holy shit, that's crazy. Like, oh my God. And I found her on Facebook after the whole thing happened. Like we just talked for a few minutes. Nothing transpired or whatnot. But I found her on Facebook and I friended her. And I was gonna message her. I was gonna message her again. But her profile picture was her and a guy. And at the time, I thought it might have been her boyfriend. I had no idea. I knew she was in college. So for me, I didn't message her on Facebook. Turns out that friend that was in the photo was her gay friend, who's a fucking beautiful human being. But I didn't know that at the time. I fucking had no idea. So I was just like, I won't touch it. I'll leave it there. But so then time passes even more, and it's around like October. So it was like a couple months had passed, and I had opened the juice bar, and I was there all the time. Like I've talked about before, I was there like 24/7, sleeping in my car, showering in the gym behind the building, just like doing my shit, And I was like, okay, I'm at the point in my life where I feel like I want to date. I know that I can't go out and meet people because of the current situation that I'm in of working. And so I was like, I'll get a dating app. I'll try out the dating app. So I downloaded like Bumble, Tinder, and there was one other one. I can't remember what the fucking name it was, but I started talking to some people. Nothing really came from it. Like we never went on dates or anything. I was just kind of like talking. And then I saw Joy on Tinder, and I was like, holy shit. Because I set my distance. You know how you can set like the distance on the dating app? I set mine to the farthest fucking distance I could, because I didn't want people who knew me from this area see me on the dating app. You know what I'm saying? I knew there was a possibility, but I was just like, whatever. But anyway, so she was on there, and she was living quite a distance away because of college. So she was on that list and whatnot. And so we started talking. I swiped, and I remember distinctly, I swiped on her afternoon, like it was like halfway through the day while I was working, and I was cleaning up in the evening, and my phone dinged, and I looked and it says, "You've got a match," and I was like, "Oh shit, let me see who it is," and I clicked on it, and it was Joy, and I was like, "Oh shit, yes." And I was like, well, now this is I didn't think this through. Now it's awkward because now we both admitted to each other that we're like, you're hot, you know, but like we've never actually talked, but we've met twice now, you know. So we started talking, we hit it off really, really well, and we decided to go on a date. We were like, all right, you know what? We've been talking for a while. It was like a week we were talking, and we were just talking all day, every day, and it was just really nice. And we were like, you know what? Let's go on a date. And so at the time, it was right before Thanksgiving, and I hadn't taken a day off from doing the juice bar, so I was just like, you know what? It's Thanksgiving. You know what? I'm allowed to take a day off. So I closed the juice bar, and I was just like, hey, I know it's like the holiday and you're home, but this is the perfect time since you are home because you're close to her. Her family lived really close to where I lived at the time. So when she came back from college, she was just like, hey, like let's plan something. And so after the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, we went on our first date. We went on our first date on Black Friday, which was very interesting. And I think back on that, I'm like, wow, that's very ballsy because like normally you would want to spend that time with family, but we were just like, you know what, fuck it, whatever. So I remember we talked all day through Thanksgiving, and her family and my family are very different. Her family is very loud and like lovey-dovey, and like, you know, they're just very like, they're very loud, big people. You know what I'm saying? Like they're very family oriented and they just get loud. Whereas my family, though lovey-dovey, very quiet, reserved. We like, I remember, the difference. I was sitting after we had our Thanksgiving meal in my grandparents' living room with family, complete silence with the television on. We weren't talking. We were all just kind of like sitting there in a food coma from the food, not talking. Whereas on her end, during Thanksgiving, her family was just yelling and having a great time. And she was we were talking about the differences and kind of laughing about it. She's like, I could not imagine that. But now she's been to a Thanksgiving because we've been married for a while. So she was like, oh, I understand that now. But come Black Friday, I drove down. Well, yeah, I drove down. She met me at a coffee shop. And at the point in my life that I was in, because I've had bad relationships before, I was very business oriented. I was like, I'm a workforce now. I want to build a life that I want to live, you know, and I don't want to waste my time. I promised myself that my time will not be wasted, and that was something I told her straight up when we started talking. Was like, if this doesn't work out, like I'm leaving. Like, of course, I'm not going to be a dick about it, but I'm also just like, if we're not feeling the vibe, I'm not going to just keep going on dates for no reason, you know. Like I'm trying to find someone that I can have a friendship and partnership with, you know, like that's what your relationships are about. And so she was cool with that. I really happy about it. And we planned to meet up at a coffee shop that was in the city that we really liked. And I remember she told me later that she had someone that she had ready to call in case she needed to have an out. This is the first time we met in person. You never know how that's going to go. And I had told her that I had a business meeting that I had to go to at like 4, I think it was 4 p.m. And we met at like 3 or 2 or something like that in the afternoon. Just so that way, if it didn't go well, I could just leave, you know, and not be a dick about it, you know. And so we both had an out. But we ended up sitting at the coffee shop and talking for like 4 hours. Like we were there until like 7 p.m. and when they were about to close. And we were just having the best time. Like we were talking forever. It just flew by, and we had really good chemistry. And we were like, I said like, oh, hey, my business meeting was canceled. If you want to hang out longer, I'd love to stay and like hang. And she agreed. And we just kept talking. And then we were like, why don't we go to something else? You know, like we really want this to continue. Why don't we go to something else? So we went to go see Thor. God, what is it? Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, it was Thor Ragnarok. And we went to the theater. We went to see it, and we watched it, and it was just such a fun time. And we were both Marvel nerds, so we were just like, hell yeah. And I remember distinctly that she said that her sister had asked her to go see Thor Ragnarok with her that week because they were both home, and she so she lied to her sister and said that she hadn't seen it yet, but she had seen it twice because she went to see it with me first. But it was really good. And then after we went to the movie and we hung out there for a while, I remember she walked me back to where we were parked because there was a parking like garage nearby, and we were just like, all right, this was a lot of fun. I hope to see you again. And then we left. But it just went really, really well. And so we kept talking from there. And then there was another day, I think it was closer to Christmas time, where she had a performance that she was going to be in. She asked me to come down for the weekend to see her perform and then hang out where she lived, which at the time she was living where her college was located. So I went down, we visited. We had a great weekend, and we decided that it was like official and we were going to be exclusive. And so then the rest is history. A year later, because I was impatient, we got engaged, and then a year after that we got married, and now we've been married for almost 3 years, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. It's a crazy time. It's a crazy time. And I feel bad because my name is basic as shit. I sound like a founding father. My last name's Adams. So it's not even fun. It's not even with two D's, like the Addams Family television show. You know what I'm saying? Because they have two D's in their name. And my joke that I always say to people is they're like, "Oh, how do you spell your name?" And it's like, "Oh, it's one D because I only need the one." It's like that's what I joke about all the time. But like, it's just Josh Adams. Actually, my full name is Joshua Adams. I won't tell you my middle name, but Joshua Adams. And so she took on my name, and I just feel bad because my last name is just very basic, like I was saying, I sound like a foul father. Alexander and Hamilton and I we're homies. We used to rap together and shit, you know. Yeah. Alexander and Hamilton and I used to like hang out and we'd rap together, and Aaron Burr would just get pissed off because I was better at rapping than him. I also used to dump tea in the harbor just as a pastime. Just fuck the king, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But but anyway, no, it's funny too because like I realized the other day that now that like I buy things for streaming, I do it under Ben Josh, so that way all my receipts are in my one email, but then on top of that, like I can remember, okay, Ben Josh, this, you know. And so whenever I buy something for my, you know, brand and my company in quotations, I always put Ben Josh as like the recipient of the mail. And I realized the other day while I was in the shower, which by the way, derail for a second. Has anyone else just like zoned out in the shower before? Like you're just sitting there, you're doing your business, washing your hair, scrubbing your face, blah, blah, blah. And then you're just thinking about something, you zone out, and then you like wake up and you're like, fuck, it's been 45 minutes. I've been standing here in the water. What the hell is with that? I don't do that anywhere else. I have such an ADHD brain, but when I'm in the shower and I'm just letting the water run over me, it's like it's zen for me. And I'll zone out and I'm like, shit, I've had the water running for an hour. I need to get out. My whole body is pruning. But anyway, sorry. No, I realized in the shower the other day, I was like, inadvertently, without me even knowing, I've been joshing people. Every single time that someone takes my mail, they've been joshed. And then inadvertently, I've joshed myself because I received the package for been joshed. And I thought that was hilarious. I was sitting there laughing to myself. I know that sounds stupid, but I was sitting there laughing to myself that I literally prank myself and everybody who comes in contact with my package. These poor FedEx drivers pick up my package like, oh, fuck. It's like when people say, oh, I lost the game, which, by the way, I'm sorry. That they pick up my mail and they're like, what the fuck? What? It's a Tuesday. What? I just think it's just so simple yet so funny. I don't know why. It just makes me laugh. I don't know. Also, while this week has been going by, there's been some funny things that have happened and occurred while I've been away. I I normally get things online because it's 2022. You're able to have things shipped to you. So why the fuck go to an actual store to get pencils when you can just order them on Amazon or whatnot? Unless it's like an emergency, you need something, of course. But because because I work from home, I'm hardly ever going out unless we go like for groceries or whatnot. And normally when I go to get groceries, Joy's with me so we can carry the bags and whatnot. And so I normally don't use the card because we share one card together, and she always has it in her purse, so she just swipes it and blah blah blah. And I have it all saved to my phone, and like so I can purchase things on my computer and whatnot. And so I never have to use it that often. You know what I'm saying? Unless like we're driving somewhere and I'm getting gas, but we hardly ever do that because we don't travel much. So it's one of those things. But I remember the other day, it was like I think it was like Thursday or something of this past week. We were talking, Joy and I, and we're like, man, cinnamon rolls, bro. Cinnamon rolls sound so good. And Joy's like, yeah, can you go get me some? And I was like, hell yeah, I can. I was like, let's go get some freaking cinnamon rolls. So I was like, I'll go. You can stay home and just relax. And so I went to the store, and I was on a mission, like it's cinnamon roll time. Gotta find those cinnamon rolls. And so I went to like the deli area, and I was looking around, and I couldn't fucking find them. Normally you get those Pillsbury Doughboy, ones, the ones that are like fat. They got the little icing on the bottom of the tube. You can stab it with a spoon and it goes pop, like that thing, And so I was looking for those, and I couldn't find them anywhere. And I was like, well, shit, like maybe we'll just make our own because we got stuff that we can, like brown sugar and cinnamon. We can butter it up and then, I'll just get pastry. So I was looking around and I couldn't find it. I was like, well, maybe they have a smaller case somewhere or it's on an end cap of something. And so I'm looking around, and I've only been there for like 10 minutes. Okay. And I went straight to that section. And I would say that I don't look like a dangerous person. I'm 5'11", I'm not even over 6 foot. I was wearing a nice leather jacket that has a hood, a t-shirt, and then I got sweatpants on because, fucking I'm going to the grocery store for 15 minutes. Why the fuck put on regular pants? I might as well just wear sweatpants. And I don't look threatening, at least to me. I have my Apple hat on, Who doesn't like a good apple, And I realized that there's someone like an employee over at the end of my aisle, like kind of like eyeing me. And so I started to feel a little uncomfortable because I was like, why are they watching me? And I realized that it's like a manager because, you can always tell who the manager is of like a grocery store. He's always the one who looks the nicest. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, they take pride in that. And that's good. Like, you should. But like, they stand out. They stand out. They just do. So I'm just like looking in like the refrigerated, like, the wall. And I was just like looking for these cinnamon rolls. And he comes over and he's like, good morning, sir. And I'm like, good morning. He's like, you find everything okay? Like, oh yeah, I'm just looking for cinnamon rolls. He's like, oh yeah. I was like, it looks like you don't have any. And he's like, oh yeah, well there might be some in the back. But yeah, you find everything okay though? Like, do you need any help? And I'm like, no. And so I'm confused now because I'm like, what is he trying to get at? And and so I'm like, well, I'm just gonna keep looking. And he's like, all right. And so he like walks away, but stands at the end of like the aisle, like right where the curve happens with the building. So like he could just keep walking, but he doesn't. He's just like meandering about. And he's just like eyeing me, and I like see him in the corner of my eye staring at me. So I'm looking around, and I'm just like, well, fuck, maybe I should get something else. Like, I don't know. And so 5 minutes go by, and I don't have my phone. So I was going to call Joy, but I left my phone because I didn't charge it the night before. That was my first mistake. I didn't bring my phone. So I was going to call Joy and be like, hey, like, what do you want instead? Or if, like, let me keep looking, blah, blah, blah. So I just was like, I'll just keep looking. If not, I'll grab something else simple, and then we'll come back. And, he comes over again. This guy comes over again and goes, hey, are you sure you don't need anything? And I'm like, what? No, I'm good. I'm just trying to find like a smaller or different something else I can have like instead of these cinnamon rolls. My wife wants some. And he just points, and there's like another thing of Pillsbury Doughboy cinnamon rolls, but it has a different wrapper, so I didn't recognize it. And it's like a smaller version. And he just points at it and stares at me like without saying anything. And I was like, oh, thanks. And I pick it up, and then I'm like, all right. And I like walk past him and like go to the front so I can just check out and leave. At this point, I was just like super uncomfortable because he was making me feel uncomfortable. You know, like I don't go out much. My social interaction is with some people in VCs and then chat, which doesn't talk to me back. So like I was just like weirded out. So anyway, I went to the front and I went through the self checkout, and you do all that yourself. This guy tails me the entire time that I'm walking from the one side of the store to the front. He's just walking behind me. And so I get into a position in the self checkout where I can see him. Like I'm facing towards him. And he stops in front of me towards like an aisle and just starts moving and like shifting the end caps, like making it look nice, you know, like just trying to give himself like trying to be less sus, you know. So I'm uncomfortable and I'm like, I just need to pay for this and leave. So I take the thing, and at this point I know because he's following me and I've worked at a grocery store before. He thinks I'm trying to steal something, which makes me feel uncomfortable because I'm like, just grabbing cinnamon rolls. What the fuck am I gonna grab a frozen pizza and throw it under my shirt? Like, what the fuck do you want me to do? What do you think I'm gonna grab a stick of butter and put in my pants? I'm in the fucking like dairy and cheese aisle to get these pastries. Do you think I'm gonna take a bag of mozzarella and shove it up my ass? Like, it becomes a fucking Mission Impossible mission where I'm just trying to shove as much stuff in my fucking clothes as possible. Anyway. So I started to like check out and put the thing in the bag, and it says like debit, credit, whatnot. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna pay with card. So I click the card and it says please follow the description on the keypad. And so I put my number in for our code for like discounts for like the grocery store, and then I put my card in. And at that moment, I realized I don't remember what the PIN is, and I don't know if it's because of this guy making me feel uncomfortable, knowing that he's watching me and thinks I'm stealing. Or I generally couldn't remember. I knew that there was some numbers in it, and I kept trying those specific ones, but I didn't know what order they were in, and I kept getting them wrong. And every single time that the keypad went beep, like as in you got it wrong, he would look up. And so I was like, well, fuck me, because now if I leave and I have to be like, hey, can you put this back for me? I can't pay for my items. He's gonna be like, I caught you, you son of a bitch, you know. And I didn't want to give him that gratification. You know, even though I was not in the wrong, you know, but I knew that there's nothing I could do. And I told this story to chat the other day, and they were like, Josh, did you know that if you hit the green button, it will just go to credit? And since it's a debit card, well, you won't actually use credit. And I was like, fuck, I'm a dumbass. I did not know that or did not remember, because if I might have known that prior, I don't know. But it was just a really stressful moment. And I was like, well, shit, I could have gotten out of this situation. But alas, I could not. And so I went to the lady who was working the self-checkouts, and I was like, hey, I'm having problems with my card. Can't get my cinnamon rolls. You mind putting these back for me? She's like, yeah, of course. It happens all the time. Don't worry about it. And I leave the store me leaving the store minus cinnamon rolls. Very sad day. Come to find out, after I told the story from chat, and I was talking to Joy, she went back to the store like the day or two later and got some groceries because we were out of milk and eggs and blah, 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 blah. Turns out that the self-checkouts at this store were having issues where their card reader was having problems and were not accepting the card payments. No matter what you were doing, no matter what, they weren't accepting them. So I don't know if I actually did put the PIN in correctly and it just didn't take because of that problem, or I actually didn't put it in correctly. I don't know, but it makes me feel a little bit better knowing that their store was the one that fucked up, not me. And that manager, whenever I go to get my groceries, whenever I go in for some fucking mozzarella sticks or some fucking Kalamata olives or some fucking tuna fish, I'm going to stare him in the face and I'm going to be like, see this card? Yeah. I'm a paying customer, you son of a bitch. No, but I felt really stupid. It was the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened. That's not true. It's not the most embarrassing thing, but it was very embarrassing because I was like, this motherfucker thinks I'm stealing and now I have to leave. It was very uncomfortable. Hopefully I don't have any more run-ins with the the managerial staff of another grocery store. Who knows? Who knows? Life is a strange thing. But yeah, no. Thank you all for sticking with me. I'm really happy to see that when I came back from stream, a lot of people were excited to have me back, and were very supportive. And it was nice to be back. I feel like I talk about this all the time, but this is like literally just the life that I live of constant improvement. So many things happening, but there's a lot of things happening this week that I'm excited about. We've talked about the surprise a little bit before, but to the people who listen to the podcast, I'm just gonna say it now because I think that the people who do listen to the podcast, that little extra touch of coming to listen to other platforms of my content, I think you guys deserve a little early sneak peek. I have a new merch store, and I'm very excited. I've been working on it for a very long time with a really cool company. And we're finalizing all the products this week. Everything is ready to go. The site has been built. It's not only a merch store, but a hub for the podcast. A little shout out to all my mods and myself to get to know me and them. I have a really cool program with a bunch of my friends who are artists that I'm really excited to introduce. And the merch is fucking fire, dude. Ooh, the drip. But I put a lot of time and effort and some really funny jokes in there, and I'm really excited to show it off. I'm planning to do it this weekend. So when you see that announcement, come and check it out. I'm really excited to show it off. Also, this weekend, I have another sponsorship that I've been talking about that I'm really excited about because it's something that I use all the time with joy, and I love it. And I really think you guys will as well. So I will definitely let you guys know about that next week on the podcast. And throw the link in there. But yeah, thank you guys for chilling with me as always. Come hang out in the stream. If you've never come and hung out in the stream, come check it out. We hang out, we talk about things, we play some games, we vibe out. I increase your sexual appeal by like 20% from just viewing. It's pretty sick. Your dick will grow at least an inch, is like Moist Critical likes to say. But yeah, some crazy new things coming our way. I'm hoping to do a lot of more themed streams, like the Love Valentine's Day one. It was a lot of fun. But I'm excited. Just make sure that everyone who's listening, make sure to take care of yourself. Make sure to take breaks when you need to take breaks. Make sure to treat yourself when you need to treat yourself. And it's okay. It's okay to take breaks. And it's okay to feel down. Everyone feels that way at some point, Everybody. And you're allowed to feel those things, Life's hard. Adulting is hard. Just living life, it can be very difficult. So treat yourself with kindness and respect, and love yourself, because it's what we all deserve, But I hope you all got a kick out of the podcast this week, talking about stuff. I'm excited for the next guest coming up this next week, and I hope you guys will enjoy that as well. Thank you all for listening. I always appreciate you. And if here's the prompt for this week, here's the prompt for this week. If you like the podcast and you found it funny, tweet at me, and tweet your favorite type of chocolate. Because it's Valentine's Day. It's the food of love. Tweet at me what your favorite type of chocolate is. Mine personally is milk chocolate, with orange, like orange peel. You know what I'm saying? Dude, that shit slaps. So fucking good. That or like chocolate pretzel bark. Oh goddamn, that shit. So good, so good. But yeah, tweet at me what your favorite kind of chocolate is. I would love to find out. But until next time, everybody, thank you so much for listening, and listening to my endless rants about stuff and derailing and just being around and supporting. I really appreciate it. There's no words I can express. I don't mean to be sappy, but I appreciate you guys. And check out the socials and stuff. Follow me on all the socials. I'm plugging myself. I'm plugging myself hard. I'm plugging myself so fucking hard, dude. Yeah. So follow me on all the socials, and I will see you guys next week. I appreciate you. Eat your apples and stay funky, my dudes. Bye.